I'm Dr. Katrina Michelle, the Executive Director of ACISTE, and I'm here today to introduce you to Dr. Marie Grace Brooke, a former board member of ACISTE and one of our presenters for our upcoming conference, October 4th to 6th in Chicago. And I'd like to give Dr. Brooke an opportunity to introduce herself and her work. Welcome, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Nice to be anticipating another ACISTE conference in October. And as far as my background, like a lot of people who are passionate about researching spiritually transformative experiences, I also have that same passion because my pivotal spiritually transformative experience happened when I was 25 years old, which was extremely disruptive to my life and extremely powerful. I was, actually I was a mountain guide at the time, and I had just picked up meditation from a book and was really, really interested in it. Did it quite devotedly for about half a year, and then all of a sudden, pow, my life just changed kind of like overnight. And I suddenly became aware of all sorts of unconscious material, both what was going on in my body, what was going on in my emotions that I had been unaware of, what was going on in other people that I had been unaware of, and then also even past life material coming. And I had grown up in a very scientific family, completely oriented to the materialistic world. So my first conclusion was that I was having a psychotic break of some sort, but I also had a very, very strong desire to stay out of a mental institute. So what I did is I took myself up into, I found a cabin and I went up into the mountains for 12 months. I said to myself, I think it's going to take me 12 months to get adjusted to this. Took some spiritual books that I found at the library up there with me. This is in the Rocky Mountains, and spent 12 months there alone, reading and shaking and meditating and going through all sorts of inner rich experiences and adventures, and was a little upset to find out that after 12 months I had not integrated it all, but I had run out of money and I had to move back down to civilization. So my life was rocky. It was a big change all of a sudden at age 25. And I invested myself first in becoming a healer, got into massage therapy and then Rolfing and then craniosacral work, and did that for a couple of decades, and then enrolled in a graduate level social work program because I realized that my clients who were coming for physical healing, really the mental and the emotional was happening simultaneously. So I wanted to become educated in that. I got married, raised a family, got divorced, married again, moved many, many times. It was almost as if I couldn't stay in one place too long because something just pushed me to the next place. I got certified as a spiritual director. Then I felt very strongly called to get a PhD. And it was during those years as a graduate student that I discovered ACISTE. And I had been having difficulty coming up with a proper study. So ACISTE really helped me because I saw that there was a group of people who were professionals in the world who had also gone through similar disruptive and challenging situations trying to integrate spiritually transformative experiences. So after that, I knew that I needed to do my research in that.
Wonderful. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your research that you're going to be presenting at our conference in October.
You know, before I tell you about that, I would like to tell you the impact that ACISTE made that helped me decide to do this research. What I found when I went to ACISTE, I think I went to either their first or their second conference. So I discovered ACISTE early on in their growth. And what was so wonderful about ACISTE is that it is full of professionals and clinicians who are not necessarily speaking the language of the medical profession. They're not coming from psychopathology, they're not coming from diagnosis to try to interpret what's going on, although they're perfectly capable of doing that. But they have chosen, which is why I just got right on board, they've chosen to define these experiences from within the truth of the experiences, which means that they're going deeper into either unconscious psychotherapy, such as Jung brought to this civilization, this culture, and they're going back thousands of years into the spiritual truth of what's going on. So they're meeting the medical profession, but they're doing it standing on the feet of what's actually going on, rather than a defensive position of defining it in terms of psychopathology and diagnosis. And this is what I needed, and this is what I get so much from when I go to the annual conferences and when I interchange with the ACISTE. All the members of ACISTE are on board with this, and so they're both very professional and respectful of the value of what they have to give in research, but they're also very respectful of what's really going on and can stand on their own feet in a culture that does not really recognize this.
Yeah, well said. Thanks for sharing that, Marie. I'm with you there.
Yeah, and so as far as the research I'm presenting now, it was a very large survey project. I created an inventory, a survey instrument from putting together recommendations there were very few experts in the field when I started this a few years ago. Yvonne Kaysen, who wrote Farther Shores, she's an MD who wrote a very comprehensive guide to help people who were trying to integrate spiritual emergencies. David Lukoff, who's been working for quite a while. He's the person who got spiritual difficulty or challenge into the DSM-4. Ryan Rominger, who's been forefront in research in this area, and Yolene Stout, who was the founder of ACISTE. So I did this research on the backs of these amazing people. I took suggestions that they had specifically written for people to help them integrate spiritually transformative experiences. I put it into an inventory of 84 items. Then I sent it out to the world. It's sent out globally through the internet to invite people who had experienced spiritually transformative experiences, and as far as they knew, had integrated them to some extent. So I wasn't really reaching for people who were in the emergency stage. I got 415 replies, which was phenomenal, especially for a survey that took 30 to 60 minutes to fill out. It was very in-depth. And then put in two screens. I put in one which was a mental health inventory to make sure that these people were stable, that they had in fact integrated their experience. And a second one which was actually a integration of post-traumatic growth inventory, which then would ideally, and I think pretty effectively, test whether they actually had experienced a spiritually transformative event. And it wasn't just kind of some other kind of growth. It was that traumatic thing involved in such sudden spiritual growth. So out of that, 245 people qualified to actually be defined by my criteria that they had integrated their STE, spiritually transformative experience. And then I just simply took the data of what they suggested and what they did themselves that worked. And it was phenomenally successful. And one of the really exciting pieces about it is that I took the risk of assuming that that a variety of transformative experiences could all be considered parallel for this purpose of this study. So everything from religious conversion to mystical experiences to near-death experiences to Kundalini experiences and on, that all of these had something in common that is a valuable message, which is what ACISTE also embraced. But that is not common. And even some of these researchers that I mentioned worked only with specific areas of which kind of transformative experiences. But I just took it as an assumption, and the research results essentially underlined that. It showed that, in fact, like the things that were chosen the most were chosen by everybody, basically, statistically, and the things that were chosen the least were chosen by everybody statistically.
Yeah.
So to me, not only is the actual information from the results valuable, but it's just changed the paradigm to the point. Oh, another one, for instance, is shamanic initiation. That was a big piece. So all of these have a thread that they have in common, which I think is so important for what's going on globally right now.
Absolutely. It sounds like a groundbreaking study, and I think it's really exciting that you're going to be talking about it with us at the conference, and I look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today and talking to us a little bit about what you're up to, and look forward to seeing all of you at our conference, October 4 to 6 in Chicago. We'll see you soon.
Great. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.